I'm going to review the Omelette Igloo Go Up chicken coop from the viewpoint of someone who has owned it for 2 years. I'm going to revisit my Omelette Igloo Go Up and let you know whether or not it is worth buying and has it stood the test of time. So without further ado, let's have a look at my Omelette Igloo Go Up chicken coop after 2 years of daily use. So as you can see, the coop's still in pretty good condition. There's no real complaints, there's no real manufacturing defaults or defects rather. The thing's still in excellent condition. The chickens love it, they sleep there every night, they still nest in there, it's still very easy to clean. And if there's any complaint at all, the one complaint that I've got, and it is just that, it's a minor complaint, in fact I wouldn't even call it a complaint, is that the sunshade atop the chicken coop, or the chicken run rather, has faded in colour. You know, it's gone from that lovely bright green that you can see on the coop plastic mould and door to this faded, horrible, plasticky, sun-faded green thing, which, you know, all plastic does fade with time. Having said that though, the feeding tray and the water tray doesn't seem to have lost any of their colour neither, and this thing's out in the sun obviously every single day. The wheels still work, the mechanism for the wheels still work. The run itself, which is a 2-meter run, is still in great condition. It has so far managed to keep at bay any predators that might have tried to get in. And if there's any complaint on the run, it would be that the clasp where the door hook fits into has gone perhaps a little bit rusty. But you know, it's minor. It's minor. The thing's still functional. It's over 2 years old now. And of course, when I'm moving the clasp in and out, it's probably just scratched the green paint off the, you know, the powder coated paint off the wire. It still works. The door still opens fluidly. You know, there's no issues there. So all in all, I mean, the coop has withstood the test of time in terms of its structure. No problem at all. But what about the insides? Have the insides survived 2 years of being pooped on and being used as a nesting box for my 4 chickens? Well, the simple answer is yes. You know, what can you say? It's heavy duty plastic. I believe it's injection molded plastic on the tray. It still moves freely in and out. I will say that I've washed and cleaned this every few days, every week for 2 years. So it's not been a lazy man's approach to chicken keeping, although I will be honest and say that I haven't been on it every single day. So I'm sure there are people out there that are much more proactive in cleaning their coops than I am, but I try to do it at least twice a week, once a week at the very minimum. And yeah, you know, every single day the door gets opened and closed, the back rear door gets opened and closed, and the tray comes out a few times a week, and all of those components still work flawlessly, as you'd expect. There is no cracking or design flaws apparent on the actual coop hut itself. It's still all in excellent condition. There's no defects whatsoever. So after 2 years of, you know, heavy rains, cold winters, and it's sometimes quite hot sun, the whole thing is as I bought it. It's still functional and it still works. Even the plastic clasps that are used to hold the chicken run together aren't showing any signs of becoming brittle or breaking or anything like that. So I can honestly say that after 2 years of using the Omelette Igloo Go Up, that it is still worth the money I spent on it way back when. And if you check the prices now, I think the prices have actually increased by about 15% since the time that I bought it. So if you are thinking of buying an Omelette Igloo Go Up coop, you really can't get a better time than now, because it seems to me, with inflation and all of these other macro environmental factors that we're facing, that the price of these things will only continue to increase. So yeah, if you have the opportunity and the means, then I do encourage you to buy this as soon as possible. So now that I've given you a little summary of how the thing has held up over the past 2 years, it's worth revisiting the reasons why I actually chose the Omelette Igloo Go Up in the first place. Well, the first thing is, look, way back in 2003, this new chicken coop had been designed by some students at the Royal College of Art. It looked like an igloo, and someone ingeniously decided to name this thing an Eggloo, which of course appeals to everyone who loves eggs and keeps chickens. And the idea behind the Omelette Eggloo Go chicken coop, or the original Omelette chicken coop, was to make the idea of keeping chickens in a garden accessible to most people. Because prior to the Omelette, you would have been thinking chicken coops were big wooden structures that carried with it their own challenges, like attracting pests or mites, annual treatment, all of those things that tend to put the average suburban or urban householder off the idea of keeping chickens. I mean, that's not including obviously the noise, the mess, and all of the other stuff that you think about when you keep chickens. So the idea then was to make it accessible to everyone. And did it achieve that? Yes, it probably did, because from, I think, in the few years following the design of the Omelette, the company went on to win a load of awards and stuff. And you can see why. It was a quirky design, it was attractive, and a few design iterations later, the Eggloo Cube was released, which was a larger format chicken coop, and then finally the one that I've got, the Eggloo Go Up coop, which is essentially the igloo except raised off the ground, so you can maximize the use of the space underneath the coop rather than use up all the space because the coop is on the ground. So that's what really made the Eggloo Go Up attractive, and certainly attractive to me, as well as because the coop itself was not on the ground, I didn't have to bend down and like crawl down to get the eggs out every day. You know, it's raised off the ground, about 60 centimeters off the ground is the access port for the door, and it's a very manageable height for me to get in and pull the eggs out every day. And of course I've got some children, or I had some children 2 years ago, I still have children of course, but when, you know, 2 years ago they were a little bit smaller, and it was the perfect height for them to actually get in and pull the eggs out as well. So they were good reasons. The other good reasons why I chose the Eggloo Go Up in the initial stages were the small footprint. You know, the thing's about 1.5 meters wide by 2.2 meters long. So it has a very small garden footprint. So if you don't have much space in your garden, you can always find 3.5 square meters of space in your garden for the coop. You know, it doesn't take up a lot of space at all. Other things was, it was actually constructed from injection molded plastic. Now, as I was looking at coops in the beginning, I did compare wooden coops, and there was a lot of people talking about how they attract pests, you know, the same way garden decking attracts pests, and that they can attract mites, and the mites can get in the feathers on the chickens, and it can give the chickens a really hard time. So that didn't really appeal to us. I didn't want to create a habitat for pests or that would encourage the mites to appear and just give the chickens a hard time. I didn't want to do that, and I didn't realize there was another option, but then I did stumble upon the Omelette, and that's when I thought, yeah, you know, this is a great idea. And from there you then go into, okay, well, if I'm getting plastic, you then have the option of colors, and you know, the Omelette Eggloo Go Up came in a bright green and a bright purple, which was a little bit different to the wooden coops. You wouldn't have all of the annual maintenance and treatment that would be required for a wooden coop. So there were some real strong attractive points to the Eggloo Go Up. And the other thing as well was that it was on wheels. Now, originally I had this idea in my head that I would put the chickens in the coop and I would move it every week to a different part of the garden, so that that part of the garden didn't get eaten or destroyed, because chickens have an undisputable habit of destroying any greenery, vegetables, anything that they get the beaks into with enough time. So I didn't want that. But in addition to that, and probably the strongest point for me, was the fact that it was plastic and it was easy to clean. I mean, the strongest point about the Eggloo Go Up is that it's raised off the ground, and if you want to get access to the coop for cleaning, all you do is swivel the handle on the back, pull down the door, and it reveals the inside of the coop. You slide the tray out from the coop, and then you slide the nesting tray out from the coop, and then beneath the nesting tray there is the droppings tray, because the droppings fall through the nesting tray onto the droppings tray, and you can just slide that out, and clean it. I pour all of my chicken droppings into my compost bin and I leave it there for a year, and I really look after that compost bin. You know, I put a load of greenery in there, a lot of brown stuff. I water it, I aerate it. I really, you know, make an effort to make good compost, and the chicken manure obviously helps with that process. Once that's done, I then spray the droppings tray with some antibacterial stuff, give it a quick wipe, or even just hot water and soap. Just give it a quick wipe and then I put it back in. The whole cleaning process, which I do twice a week, takes me, I don't know, 10 minutes tops. It's really, really easy, and that really was the strongest selling point to the Igloo Go Up coop for me. And still now, after 2 years of keeping chickens in it, it's still the strongest point. And in actual fact, it's made me enjoy keeping chickens. Now, I don't know if my enjoyment level would have changed if I'd had a wooden coop and I needed a different kind of cleaning method, or I had to treat the wood all the time. But I can definitely say, because this has made it so easy, I've actually enjoyed keeping chickens. I've enjoyed watching the personalities in the garden. I've enjoyed watching them grow. I've enjoyed watching them fight over pecking orders, and I've enjoyed obviously eating their eggs that they lay. So yeah, and I guess most importantly, I've enjoyed having and caring for living animals in the garden that complete that circle of life, that natural circle where you take care of an animal, and then for that care it then gives you the eggs, or it gives you some kind of benefit, and you just learn to appreciate what it really means to tend and care for animals. You can feel their energy, you can feel that connection, and that, above all of the other things, is more than enough reason to start keeping chickens. It just restores that connection that we've been missing for so long. And because the Igloo Go Up makes it so easy to keep chickens, even in an urban environment, then there's really no reason not to recommend it. This thing's 2 years old now, and I think it's probably got another 2 or 3 years left in it. Who knows, it might even have more than that, but I'm not expecting to replace this coop anytime soon. And if anything, I would actually be buying myself another one when we get some more chickens, hopefully later on in the summer. And if I were to do that, I would be doing that soon though, as I said earlier on, with the way inflation is and the challenges in the wider macro environment. I don't think anything's going to get cheaper from this point in. So if you are thinking of buying a chicken coop, certainly think of getting the Igloo Go Up, especially if you're in a garden, or you know, you're in the city or a suburban area. And just buy it now. If you can afford it and you've got the means to do it, buy it now, because the prices are only going to go up. The links to the latest prices and the latest places to buy from are down below. Don't wait. Just get into it, start doing it, and you will, you know, within a couple of weeks start reaping the rewards of keeping and owning and tending for and caring for your own chickens. So I hope that's been a nice review of the Omlet Igloo Go Up. And if you enjoyed this video and you like more video, or you'd like to see more videos like this, or you'd like to learn more about becoming more self-sufficient in your life, then please get yourself over to bornbright.com, where I talk all about self-sufficiency in all of its forms. So not just food growing, not just energy, but on earning your own living and spirit, nurturing the spirit, and really taking control back of your own being, away from these state institutions and all of this other stuff that's screaming out for your attention. So please have a look at that. And if you enjoyed this video and all my other stuff, then think about subscribing or following. It really helps out. Anyway, I'll see you soon. See you for now.